Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
You're tuned into Full Service Radio.
Full Service Radio.
Full Service.
Full Service. Full Service.
Full Service Radio.
Peace, everyone, and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, D.C. This podcast is where dynamic people of color in the food and agricultural space share their personal food journeys, passions, and perspectives that stem from the land, all exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. Peace, everyone. This is Melissa L. Jones here on the Edible Activist Podcast. I am broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, DC, here on Full Service Radio. I'm really excited to have a awesome food friend and guest in the studio with me today. And her name is Lina Salazar, who is a Colombian native who resides here in Washington, D.C. and is the founder of Live Well. I like that already. I've been liking it because I know her. I know what she does. Lina coaches women and companies to harness internal tools to experience a mindset shift in how they think about their bodies and well-being, drawing on personal life events associated with bulimia and binge eating. Lina empowers individuals to lead a life led by self-awareness and freedom of choice. Welcome to the show, Lina.
Melissa, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Every time I see you, you're so friend. You are, and she's rocking her Edible Activist tee. Woo. Such a supporter. She was a huge supporter of my Kickstarter last year and that whole thing. And look where we are now, guys.
Yeah, we love it.
So here's the rundown from the show. This is going to be a short show, but one that's packed with really great context. So I'm really excited. So we're going to learn about your Colombian roots, Lina, because I know that's where you're from, but we never really talked about, we never dug into like your heritage. So I'm really excited to learn about that and your food journey, what that was like. We're going to have you define living well, because I'm sure you have a completely different definition of how anybody else would define it, because I feel like a lot of things are relative. We're going to unlock ways to overcome food sanity, which you call food sanity, in a program that you created, which is awesome and something that you are putting on right now as we speak. And we're going to learn how to achieve food freedom. Oh, I just feel like I'm out the barrier already. So welcome again. So let's parachute in, because I said time is of the essence. So who is Lina? Who are you? Walk us through your heritage growing up in Colombia, and what that scene was like coming up.
You know, I loved that that you're asking that question, because it makes me reflect on my heritage and who I am. I am Lina Salazar. Salazar.
What she said.
Exactly. 100% Colombian. I was born and raised in Bogota, in the capital of Colombia. But my family, my parents, and my grandparents are from a region of Colombia called Boyacá, north of Bogota. And it's a very rural area, with most of the people in this region are small farmers and live out from agriculture. So that's but I grew up as a city girl.
Okay.
I grew up as a city girl.
So you weren't on the farm?
I weren't. You know what? It's ironic. Now I'm in this show, right? And I talk about food and stuff, but it's ironic. I was not into farms and like vegetables as I grew up. It's the irony. I actually, because my grandmother and my uncles and my dad, they owned farms in this region, and they grew potatoes and milk cows, and sold milk and carrots, and they had porks. And I grew up every weekend going to the farm, and I hated it. because it was, it's in the moorland, right? It's very cold, and I didn't like getting dirty. Now I'm fine with it.
Little diva, Lena.
I was a city girl, exactly. I wanted only to be at the shopping mall, I guess, and it's ironic because I look back and I wished I had this curiosity for food back then, right? But that's sort of like a summary of where I come from. Yes, there's still farms and land and agriculture in my family, but I was never into it.
What was the food scene like for you in Colombia, in the household?
Listen,
because I don't hear of like Colombian dishes. Like what is a Colombian dish?
Yeah. Well, like in many countries in Latin America, there's a lot of beans, a lot of rice, a lot of corn, right? We don't have this, let's say, sophisticated cuisine like you hear about the Peruvian ceviches, and right? But we do have a lot of variety in fruits and vegetables, and there are great chefs doing great work in Colombia in the food scene. But that's mostly what we ate, like a lot of potatoes, right? Very indigenous. Those are our roots. And at home, I mean, I guess as in any country in Latin America, you grow up eating real food. So that's not really a concern. So drinking a lot of fruit juices, and there was always, I remember, rice or potatoes, meat or chicken, and some vegetables at the table. But I didn't grow up, in the kitchen cooking with my mom, like some people who've been on this show, or I didn't grow up. I mean, I
didn't either.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like they cooked it for me. I just ate. There is a culture of like sitting at the table, which is a habit that I love and I still have, sitting at the table and just like enjoying food and talking about your day, your life. And that still happens. Every time I go to Colombia, that's like sacred. Like, okay, lunch is served, everyone comes to the table. So that's sort of like how I grew up around food and sort of like how we live food in my family.
I know you, as I mentioned during the intro, you've had one of the many reasons why you started Live Well, which we'll dig into in just a moment, was because of some of the health challenges that you faced. And it wasn't health challenges in the sense of you were eating foods that were unhealthy or maybe so, but it was more so a physical image and wanting to look a certain way and, not looking great on the outside because you have all these wonderful achievements and you've traveled the world and you've lived in other countries and you studied international development, but you weren't well on the inside. So what were some of those challenges, and when did real food, quote unquote real food, begin to play a role in all of this?
I love that because we've talked about this, and it was actually one of the stories that we posted on your Instagram profile like 2 years ago. Yes. And it was a great reflection. It was like, my story with food, it's not about how much I love food and my grandmother made pasta and I was like standing next to her. It was that I hated food. I resented food because it was something I wanted to eat a lot of, but at the same time, I couldn't stop eating it. And it was making me quote unquote fat, and that meant I was undesirable or defective in a Colombian society that's obsessed with beauty and thinness. So it was this tension with food, right? And that's one of the reasons why I developed an eating disorder at age maybe like 12 or 13.
Wow.
Bulimia, binge eating, food obsessiveness, over-exercising, etc. But sort of like I became vegetarian in 2008, not because of health reasons, because I got more curious about where my food came from.
Okay.
So that's important to mention, sort of like my food journey, because as that curiosity evolved or got stronger, it became key in my recovery from an eating disorder. Because it was when I started sort of like working on myself and the recovery process that I started getting more interested in sort of like the impact of highly processed foods on my brain chemistry. It's not only the psychology of eating, right? It's also the chemistry.
Yes.
So I started like getting more curious, like, okay, these foods do this to me. What's behind them? Who produces them? Where do they come from? And I just opened a door into food systems, food policy, agriculture, sustainability, right? Farming. And I just fell in love with it. I loved it. And that's why I say that my interest and curiosity to learn where my food comes from. So like was a key piece of the puzzle of my recovery, right?
Wow.
Because now I just is my intention, it's my value to eat real food. Doesn't mean that I don't eat ice cream or pizza. It's an aim, it's an intention, it's my values. So it's more out of self-care, not like following a rule.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how sort of like my relationship with food evolved, and this curiosity to know where my food comes from. So like it was key to my recovery.
That's amazing. That's amazing. How do you define living well?
Oh,
which I just love the name of your platform, and I love it's a motto. It's so many things.
I love that you say that, because when I Google Live Well, there's like all these insurance companies and gyms and diet clubs, and I'm like, God, really?
Not insurance companies.
There's like something health company, whatever, Live Well, and they have all these ugly websites, and I'm like, oh God, did I pick the right name? But Live Well for me, and this notion has evolved with the years. It's sort of like it's founded in 3 basic concepts. One is awareness, self-knowledge, like knowledge of yourself, and willingness to improve, or curiosity. And once you put all these pieces together or develop these skills and become good at them, you are able to make wiser choices that benefit, or for the sake of the well-being of your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. So Live Well, it's more like a state that you experience once all of these things are aligned. So, and it doesn't mean that you don't have bad moments, or that you don't face,
because we're human.
Exactly, we're human, and that life happens, right?
All the time.
All the time.
Life happened to me a few minutes before the podcast, and Lena helped me because I was mad.
Yeah, exactly. Life happens. So it's more like, okay, but once we sort of like develop this awareness, know yourself, and the willingness to improve and to keep growing and exploring, then it's easier to make wiser decisions. And this may sound very intangible. It only makes sense once you start living it.
Once you start living it.
Exactly. Once you start living well.
Living well. I love that. And it reminds me of, I remember when I had Dr. Amin in the studio, who is an amazing rice farmer out in Tacoma Park, Maryland, holistic doctor. And one of the things that he said, when I had him define disease for me, and he said it's stuck energy. And it's also like, and if I screw this up, y'all don't come after me, but he also mentioned about things being a posture. And so with you, and just, looking at your work, and because you have years of studying all of this, even before you came into the space as a health coach, and it is your belief, and I truly believe this too, and this was on the same, in alignment with what Dr. Amin was saying, it has to be a mind shift.
Yeah.
Before anything can really change.
That's what it is about. So you see how, if you look at, we're immersed in diet culture and obsessed about thinness and the obesity epidemic and stuff. And that is very much focused on the behavior, right? It's sort of like the end, or the tangible, or the visible, the visible part of your actions, right? What you can see. But we are what we believe in. We are our habits, and our habits are a result or a product of our beliefs, our core beliefs, our ideas,
Absolutely.
the things that it's our paradigms, right? The things that they're the bedrock of how we see
our
the
foundation,
world.
exactly.
So for example, just like to bring it up, the work that I do with my clients and that I experience myself was not like, how do I get more willpower to do these things, or how do I transform my behaviors? Like, why don't I just like take a step back and go to, how do I change the way I see things? And so like debunk myths and deconstruct old beliefs, outdated beliefs about fat, about perfection, about body, about life and your values. How do you like make a shift, a mindset shift? And it's natural that your behaviors will change, and it's easier. right?
I remember. So really quick, this is Melissa L. Jones here with the Edible Activist Podcast, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line DC here on Full Service Radio. And I have the lovely pleasure of having my food friend, Lena Salazar. She says it better than me because in the cutest Colombian voice, I swear, I just love it, who is the founder of this wonderful platform called Living Well. And she is a health coach. And the amazing thing about her story is that, you had challenges and bouts with bulimia and just your physical appearance and just being immersed in diet culture and needing to look a certain way. And although, you grew up in a country where your family had farms and, they grew food, like that really wasn't necessarily you, but you used your challenges to now help women. And I'm sure other people, everyone as much as you can. And so we're talking about like needing to shift your mind before anything else can shift. And I remember our conversations, we're going to take a break in just a moment, but I remember you and I having a conversation about just until you feel comfortable with yourself, regardless of how you're shaped. And because I'll tell you this one thing, Melissa not getting no two-piece, and I'm okay with that. All right. I said I will wear a one-piece for the rest of my life. I don't look right in a two-piece, and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with my one-piece. Okay. But just and once you're comfortable and your mind shifts. Let me rephrase that. You would be amazed by what is attracted to you because the internal is glowing.
Yeah. It has to do also with, that's why this work is not about the food.
Yeah.
Your problems with food are not exclusively about the food. It's a piece of the puzzle, but it's not exclusively. It's also, which is a work that I did about dealing with, in my case, was resentment towards myself, towards people who were, came into my life at certain points of my life. And that it was just like something just like felt lighter inside.
Yeah.
And my energy changed.
Oh, I love it. Her energy changed. All right, guys, we need to take a really quick break and we'll be right back. You're listening to Perfect Day, produced by Artist Authentic. For more of Authentic's work, visit allornothingstudios.com. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Melissa L. Jones here on the Edible Activist Podcast, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line DC, here on Full Service Radio with my amazing friend and guest, Lena Salazar, who is the founder and creator of Live Well. I just noticed I said Living Well before, but Live Well, that's the name of her platform, but we are talking about living well, so it all comes into play. So we just left off on some really great conversations, getting to know Lena, her work in, helping women just feel good about themselves and not feel guilty about, what they're eating and, shifting your mindset and doing that internal work so you can glow and so your energy can change. And once you make that internal shift, then you start to make other decisions that are really reflective of the values that you start to not start to believe in, but ones that you have taken on.
Correct.
So, which I think is just very powerful. So you have this program which is so dynamic, and I'm starting to learn more about it, and I've been sharing it, called Food Sanity, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, you got it right.
Talk to us a bit more about that.
So I've been working with women individually, but I think now I got to a point in which I wanted to touch more women, let's say, work more with more women, and also leverage the power of the community. And that's why I recently launched the Food Sanity program, which starts April 30th. It's an 8-week group coaching program, small, intimate, for women. And what we do is, like, each week we have a theme, we have a module, right now take home exercise, etc. But the sessions are led by me. And the goal is to go over sort of like what I consider the key foundations of how you make peace with food and your body, and to achieve what I call food sanity, right?
Yeah.
It's just like living well at the end.
Yes.
And it's like not fighting calories, not fighting food, not fighting your weight, and just enjoying food, finding joy and freedom in food. So that's what the program is about, and I'm excited. We already have a good group of women, and I cannot wait to do this. And something that's very important is that I launched the program in English and Spanish.
Yes.
Which was it's this year. My goal is to all of the content that I'm putting out there is in English and Spanish.
It is. And I just
and
rave.
It's important.
I always rave about Lena's marketing materials because it's so fresh, it's so clean. And I get her newsletters. I just saw an email from you this morning.
I got one this morning.
And you get the English version and then you get the Spanish. And I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
It's important. I'm Colombian.
Yes,
I'm Colombian. So, and I need to be loyal to my heritage, and because Latins or Hispanic women think about these things, it's different. It's different than how American women think about it.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt the need to just like put it out there in Spanish as well. And It's something that I'm going to continue doing.
And here's the thing. Your platform and Live Well and Foods, it's for women of all, for any woman.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter your shape, your size,
exactly.
because you can attest to this, not everyone, but the skinny woman can feel very guilty and can be obsessed with, because you were working out for 4 hours at a time. I read, and obsessed with diet. And it's so easy to become obsessed, but, I ate this, I felt bad. I remember talking to you about my own, diet.
Yeah.
I feel bad when I do this, because stress eating is real, but that's the one thing that it's not just for any particular size.
No.
Again, this is all mental
I
stuff.
love that you highlight that, because there are many preconceptions of who this type of work is for.
Yes, exactly.
And the thing is that the craziness around food and the food insanity doesn't discriminate, right? It doesn't matter what shape you are, what color you are, what flavor you are.
What flavor you are.
What flavor you are.
What flavor am I?
Oh,
mocha.
You're spicy.
I'm
You're
spicy. Okay. I'm a mocha spice.
Yeah, exactly. So
it
doesn't discriminate, right? People think like, oh, if she's very skinny, then she's anorexic. You can be like fat, like what you see, like someone who you would consider, again, quote unquote, overweight, and be anorexic.
Absolutely.
Or feel insane around food. So it doesn't have to do with size, color, shape, anything.
Absolutely.
This program is open to anyone. For now, women. Men keep asking, like, what about men? And I'm like, well, maybe in the future. For now,
that's good that they're asking.
Listen, they have these issues too. There's
Absolutely.
it's just like a lot of taboo around it.
There is taboo around it, and I'm glad that men are asking you, because that just lets the world know and the audience know that, like you said, men do have these issues. It's not just a woman thing, because we easily look at men like, oh, they can just go to the gym, they can eat whatever, they're fine, and that's they have self-esteem issues too.
It's about confidence. It's how you feel. How your mind feels, how your soul, your emotions. So it's important. It's important, and it's getting more and more relevant.
So I want to leave you with this last question, and as another really great food friend, Tamber Ray Stevenson, of I Am Wanda and Native Soul, and
I know her,
she's just awesome and just doing so much. She talks a lot about plate values and what your plate should reflect, and I just think every time she mentions it, it's just a powerful statement. And what is your belief around the food that we put on our plate and the values that the food should represent or reflect?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I think that, we talk about the broken food system. If all of our food was aligned with our values, we would probably fix a good part of the broken food system, without a doubt. And this goes to... That's a post. Write it down.
Yeah.
And what that goes to the consumer education part, which for me is very important in my work. I just do it at the end, so it doesn't become another rule, right? Yeah. It's like once you go through the diet mindset detox, let's say, and you sort of like change your paradigm, your mindset, then you can absorb nutrition information and nutrition education and use it as a tool for self-care.
Wow.
And health, not as another rule to punish or guilt. So that's why I believe consumer education is so important, because the more we know and the more we learn about where our food comes from, who produced it, etc., the wiser choices we will make.
Absolutely.
Because it becomes our value.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When I started watching documentaries around food, you didn't have to beat me with a bat.
No, exactly.
I was like, I got it.
And it will be, and if you don't do it, it will be in your heart, right? It's your choice.
It's your choice.
And you decide what your values are. But I do believe that a plate, it's definitely a reflection of our values.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, Lena, our time is short because you have stuff to do.
But
I got
this
stuff
is
to do.
this
But
was
I'm
juicy
so
and
glad
great.
this was juicy. I love it. Like a big fat grapefruit, which I love and I could use right now.
Yeah.
Lena, where can people find you?
Great. So people can find me on my website. It's livewellway.com or Instagram. That's where I'm the most active, at live.well.way. I'm not active on Facebook, so don't look for me there, because I don't do anything on Facebook.
That's okay.
And please sign up for my newsletter.
Yes.
Every 2 weeks, short reflections. I call them reflections for mindset shift, right? No spammy, no. 2 weeks, juicy, short, to produce this mindset shift that I'm talking about.
The one thing I like about your newsletters, it's the real you. Like when you get a newsletter from Lena, it's like Lena, like she's giving you true, raw, personal, very authentic, and it's just beautiful. It's so refreshing to see that.
Thank you. I love to hear that.
Yeah. So, and I just posted, so you can go to my post and follow her. Follow Lena and get into this food sanity program. If you know someone who can benefit from it, definitely. You got 2 spots left.
2 spots left.
All right, y'all.
So you still have time, but we start April 30th. So hurry up.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do a quick rapid fire. Are you ready for me, Lena?
I am ready.
Okay. So what is your favorite leafy green?
So lately, these mini kale, like they look like kale sprouts?
Yes.
They are incredible. You put them in the oven with olive oil, sea salt, pepper, and they're these crunchy little beautiful things.
Oh my goodness.
They are delicious. Calettes or kale sprouts. They look like tiny kales.
And you just drizzle a little something on it.
Olive oil in the oven, and just like even 10 minutes, and they're crunchy, delicious.
I like a crunchy green, man.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, I gotta try that. Sweet, spicy, sour, or salty? What's that flavor, girl?
That's hard. That's hard because
I'll let you pick 2.
Sweet and salty.
Okay.
Yeah, my breakfasts are always oatmeal with bananas, and so I always wake up with like sweetness, and
I love that. I love that. That used to be my staple breakfast.
Oh, I love it.
And then I went to the overnight oats, which wasn't too far off.
that as well. In the summer, that's what I do. It's delicious.
And I need to start. And I told myself, I said, Melissa, buy it, because I make my own cashew milk.
And
I haven't made it in a while. It's so easy, but I'm about to start back. Okay. What is your favorite fruit?
Sadly, it's a peach called Rey Negro, Black King.
Okay.
That they produce.
Can you repeat that again?
Black king. It's
Black king. But how do you say it in
Rey,
Espanol?
which means king.
Okay.
Negro, black.
Right, black, right.
Wow. Black king. It's a peach that it's only, I don't know if it's only produced in Boyacá, the region where my family is from. But you don't get them very often, but the smell, the texture, they are
I just like the name
Oh
of
my
it.
God. They are delicious. Delicious. So that's my favorite fruit, which I eat like every 5 years.
So I got to go to Colombia to get that.
Yes.
Colombia's on my list. So we're going to go. And we're going to have Black King.
Black King.
All right. Oh, I like the sound of that. What's cooking in your pot these days? Literally.
So, let's see. I am making these easy that my mom taught me, actually. It's an asparagus soup, but the base is just like onions, chopped onions, tons of olive oil, good olive oil.
Good, not crappy olive oil.
Not crappy olive oil.
Because it ain't all made the same, y'all.
Exactly.
I'm here to tell you.
Good extra virgin olive oil. I roast the asparagus a little bit, and I use vegetable broth, sea salt, pepper, garlic as well, and you just like let that
sound
on the stove for a little bit,
so
and
divine.
then you blend it, and it's delicious.
Oh my God.
It's easy. It's also so easy.
It's easy.
It's also so easy.
Are you gonna do a recipe book? You need to do a recipe. No pressure. No pressure. All
My
I'm
husband's
saying,
gonna laugh at that,
and if
because
your mom,
he's like, these are sea salt, olive oil, sea salt, pepper. Those are my key ingredients.
no, I'm just saying. Listen, some people just don't know. Some people need a book with
Joe,
those simple
are you hearing that?
ingredients.
Are you hearing
Yes,
that?
yeah, she's going to create a book. Seriously though, if your mom is, come on, let's keep these traditions alive.
You're right.
Whatever she teaches you, man, we got to keep it alive.
True.
Last question: what is one way someone can channel their inner edible activism?
Oh God. Listen, going to farmers market, it's very important that you connect with food, and it's fun and it's delicious, and you see the colors, just cooking. And also, if that doesn't work for you, then educate yourself. Be curious and listen to a podcast. You know, there are many, your podcast, Lunch Agenda, they're like great podcasts to be curious. Or if you want to go further, like I do it because it's something I love. I am a member of the board of Community Food Works.
She is,
which is a great organization that operates farmers markets in DC and wards 7 and 8 where they are much needed. So those are like a few of the things that you could do if you want to be an edible activist.
Awesome. I like that. And she said edible activist. She has
Yes.
a shirt on,
Hashtag
guys.
edible activist.
Yes. Hashtag. Lena, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I love being here.
Oh my gosh, you are a doll, and I just appreciate having you as a food friend in this space. Very supportive. I love what you do. Keep rocking it. You are amazing. So, and hopefully we can have you back.
I would love that. And the same to you. I admire you. Great work, and keep doing it. Yeah, let's go for it.
Thank you. All right, folks. So time's up, and thank you everyone for tuning in. We're here live on Full Service Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And you can access each episode after it airs on iTunes and Spotify. You can also catch today's show on fullserviceradio.org, which is also home to some dope podcasters, including myself. But we also got some other dope podcasters in the building, so check out fullserviceradio.org. You can also follow me. I am now Food Talks in Color, guys. I recently changed the name from Food Talks DC. Still got love for DC, but you know, this platform is bigger than any city, zip code, area, and region. So, but we're still going to use Food Talks DC, you know, as I continue to create more content in the DC area. So, but Food Talks in Color, that's Food Talks, the letter N, Color, COLOR. All right, guys, new name. Yep. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Are you an edible activist? I'm sure you are. Come join me on the show. I would love to feature you. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram. Thanks, and have a wonderful day. Peace.